All right, we on once again.
Alright, shalom.
Shalom.
Praise the Lord to you.
Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Kakadash.
About to the apostles of Jim H. Rubel, shalom to the faithful man. Let's continue doing the work of the Lord. Alright, Lord willing, this is take two, you know. A lot of shit fucking up today, brothers' phones and shit, minds, brothers, all that. But you know, fucking who gives a fuck? Yeah, Satan gonna do what he do. We gonna do what we do through the spirit. So it's tedious, but we're gonna do what we gotta do. So we start from the top. Let's just get it done. You know, can you read the site too again?
Yeah, this is article, a couple paragraphs down in Britannica.com. It says, I believe starting at the dynasties of the Northern Kingdom, right?
Yep.
The dynasty of the Northern Kingdom was short-lived. Jeroboam was succeeded by his son Hadad, who reigned for 2 years before he was overthrown by Baasha, who decimated the house of Jeroboam, reigning for 24 years. Baasha, who did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, like all the northern kings, according to the interpretation of the Deuteronomists, had to concern himself not only with charismatic leaders who were traditionally powerful in the north, but also with the rising power of anti-monarchical prophets such as Jehu, who prophesied the end of the house of Baasha, chapter 16. Elah, Baasha's son, ruled only 2 years before he was assassinated while in a drunken state by Zimri, a chariot commander, who exterminated all of the members of the house of Baasha, reigning for the brief period of 7 days. Zimri was besieged in the citadel at Tisra by Omri, commander of the army. Zimri burned to death in the king's house. Much of this political turmoil and confusion in the north occurred during the reign of Asa, king of Judah, from about 913 to 873 BCE, who inaugurated religious reforms such as banning male cult prostitutes and the worship of the Canaanite goddess Asherah that had been sponsored by his mother Maacah, the queen regent.
Mm-hmm. So like we said before, you know, Jake just a lot of infightings and so on, you know, backstabbing, assassinations, so on and so forth. You know, just Jake acting like heathen. Really reading this reminds me of how the Romans did. You know, how they was assassinating each other. A lot of them Romans wasn't even related. You know what I'm saying? Even though they got the name Caesar. You know, same thing with this. A lot of these Northern Kingdom Jake wasn't related. Some of these was just captain of the army or something, you know? Commander of the army.
What precinct?
Go on.
It's real quick. Mark 3 and 24 in the NLT. It says that kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. You know,
Yeah.
just quick hitter, you know what I'm saying, pertaining to what we're reading. You know, the inner turmoil, you know, the civil wars, disputes, so on and so forth. You know, if that's, you know, taking place in the kingdom, it's going to collapse, which ultimately happened to both tribes, you know.
Yeah. Come on. You got it.
Back in the article.
Mm-hmm.
Says the significance of Elijah with the dynasty of Army, 876 to 842 BC, the prophetic movement begins to assume a position of tremendous importance in Israel and Judah. Army reigned 876 to 869 BC, reestablished Israel's economic and military significance among the Syrian and Palestinian minor kingdoms. So much so that the years after his death, the Assyrians referred to the northern kingdom as the land of Army. He is mentioned in the Moabite stone of King Nisha, 9th century BCE, as a king who humbled Moab many years to strengthen an alliance with the Phoenicians. Army contracted a marriage between Jezebel, princess of Sidon, and his son Ahab. The marriage proved to be faithful for Israel and was a catalyst that brought the prophetic movement into a course of action in a form that became Israel's contribution to Near Eastern prophecy.
Alright, so come on. So let's somebody read that Moabite stone and then that scripture again. And then we can just move forward from that. You know, just to show you too that this is a secular history, that this, you know, history was written down.
Yep,
That's even.
and if I may add, this helps us, you know, identify, you know, the true Hebrew as well. You know, because you got Ben Genesis say something like, oh, how this not the Lasha Kohan Kodash, or something like that, yeah. You know?
Oh, shit.
So artifacts like this, etc., you know, proves what the true native tongue is, you know. But real quick, just a AI overview concerning the Moabite stone. It says the Moabite stone Meshah Stiel or Steli
is a 9th century BCE inscription by King Mesha of Moab, detailing his victory over Israel, attributing it to his god Chemosh, and recounting his building projects, confirming biblical accounts of Moab's conflict with Israel, Omri and Ahab, and notably mentioning the house of David, providing crucial historical evidence for ancient Israel and Judah. There's some bullet points. You want me to read them?
If you see something.
Kanye, I'll just read it. It says, key things the stone says. It says, King Mesha's identity. I am Mesha, son of Chemosh, king of Moab, the Dibonite from Dibon. Oppression by Israel. It says, mentions King Omri of Israel and his son oppressing Moab for many days because of Chemosh was angry with his land. Rebellion and victory. Describes Mesha's successful revolt against Israel, reclaiming lands of Medeba and Nebo, and killing inhabitants as sacrifices to Chemosh. Praise for Chemosh attributes all his success to his god, Chemosh, who helped him overthrow Israelite rule, which ultimately we know they prevailed because our nation wasn't in its right state, you know. But it says building projects. It says details his construction of walls, gates, towers, and King's house in Quiriyuha, house of David. It says a debated but widely accepted reading refers to the house of David, corroborating David's dynasty as a historical entity. Mention of Yahweh notes Mesha took vessels of the Israelite god Yahweh and presented them before Chemosh.
Right. That's beautiful. You got the actual Yahweh's name on there. You know what I'm saying? So like we said, to them guys that try to talk shit against the Hebrew and the name, we don't know the name. Like, hey, like Elias Mamba said, bro, the Lord, he knows how to preserve anything. He knows how to preserve his word, he knows how to preserve his name. And that's proof right there, you know?
Caught a couple pictures there. Catch them.
Already captured one? No, okay.
This is the ancient stone. Then so a little picture or clear. Which is the Paleo Hebrew, which we believe and know is the true Hebrew. All right. And then we just read the bullet points of what's written in it, right? The first mention of the God of Israel, Yahweh, YHWH, the tetragram, which is Yahweh. Alright, no E's, no U's, okay, in the Hebrew.
Oh yeah, somebody got that scripture.
Kings.
Yeah. 16.
This is Kings, 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 25. It says, but Omri wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord and did worse than all that were before him. For he walked in all the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin.
Right,
So-
which is the first king of Israel.
It says to provoke the Lord, the power of Israel, to anger with their vanities. Now the rest of the acts of Omri, which he did, and his might that he showed, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? So Omri slept with his fathers, and he was buried in Samaria, and Ahab his son reigned in his stead. And in the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab the son of Omri to reign over Israel. And Ahab the son of Omri reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him. And it came to pass as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him.
That was the end of that verse?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we stop there. All right, just to set up the scene, you know what I'm saying? Because they about to do some wickedness and put a lot of prophets to death. You know what I mean? Then they gonna get their judgment. But we can go back to the article.
Back in the article, it says the reign of Omri's son Ahab coincided. Make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah. It says the reign of Omri's son Ahab coincided with the activities of the prophet Elijah, as recorded in 1 Kings chapter 16, verse 29 to chapter 22, verse 40. Ahab, under the influence of his queen Jezebel, allowed her to foster the worship of the fertility god Baal in Samaria, the capital that Omri had built, and in all Israel, even though he himself remained a worshiper of Yahweh. A temple was built for Baal in Samaria. Jericho was rebuilt, even though the ban against its existence still remained, by Hiel of Bethel, who sacrificed 2 of his own sons and placed them in the foundation of the gates of the walls of the city. During these apostate activities, the great prophet Elijah the Tishbite appeared, a man of erratic behavior, wearing a garment of hair with a leather belt around his waist, using uncouth language, and preferring.
Real quick, can we get that Hebrews 11? You know what I'm talking about? Where at the end where it said they wear sheep clothes and goat skin and stuff like that. Just real quick, you know, just to show how the prophets were. You know, yeah, uncouth language. What Paul said, my speech is rude. You know. Mm-hmm.
This is Hebrews 11. This whole chapter pretty much going into faith.
I got it.
You know the men and their works. Various men in the scripture, so on and so forth. But it goes to say in verse 36, it says, "And others have trial of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawn asunder, they were tempted, were slain with the sword, they wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute, afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in deserts and in mountains and in dens and in caves of the earth."
Mm-hmm. Right, so that was the prophet where Yahweh said, what you expect, what you went out there to see. A man was roughly paraphrasing, a man in gay clothing. Mm-hmm. You got men like Elijah, John the Baptist, you see what I'm saying? Even us, a lot of us, some brothers got a little nicer garments, but it's not no fashion show. The main focus is the words of the Lord, you know what I'm saying? And Elijah was a perfect example of that. But you got more of that? Is that it?
That's it.
Okay, cool.
36 and 38.
We can go back to that article, but we're gonna skip around a little bit. But you can continue.
It says, and preferring the wilderness areas of the towns. So Elijah bore many of the outward signs of social rebels. At odds with the court authorities, he began his prophetic career just prior to a retreat in the wilderness during a drought, which he had announced to Ahab, thus pointing out that Yahweh, rather than Baal, is the Lord of nature. In the desert, he performed 2 miracles. He assured a widow and her son of continuous food for her act of generosity to him, and cured her son, apparently dead, who had stopped breathing, by stretching himself on top of the boy 3 times. Elijah then went to the court of Ahab at Samaria after having met one of the leading prophets, Obadiah, who had escaped Jezebel's attempt to destroy the leaders of the cult of Yahweh, and stood before Ahab, accusing the king of being the trouble of Israel for having followed the cult of Baal. Elijah hurled a challenge to the Baalists, supported by Jezebel, to meet him in a contest on Mount Carmel.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now skip down to the third. Skip down 3 paragraphs.
Elijah told Ahab.
Yeah, Because pretty much, just to summarize that, pretty much Elijah was mocking those prophets because the Lord didn't, their guys didn't perform the miracles. And then at the end of the day, they pretty much end up killing all them prophets.
Yeah, would they set up altars?
Yeah.
And see whose altar would be lit. I think they wedded as well or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was like 400 prophets of Baal?
Yeah. Come on. And then let me see. You got that spot?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's also, before we get that, let's get 1 Kings 19:1. As a matter of fact, yeah, continue on the article, then we just gonna read 1 Kings 19:1.
Says Elijah told Ahab to complete the festivities while he went on to Mount Carmel to perform another rain-making ceremony. When the rains came in, a cloud burst. Ahab was riding in his chariot in the valley of Jezreel. Elijah, in fear of retaliation from Jezebel, fled to the southern wilderness at Mount Horeb, Sinai. After a storm, wind, and an earthquake, Yahweh spoke to Elijah through silence and then revealed that he should anoint Hazael to be king of Syria, Jehu to be king of Israel, and Elisha to be his successor as prophet. 1 Kings chapter 20 records a war between Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, and Ahab. Though Ahab was victorious, he did not kill Ben-Hadad, according to the provisions of the Hiram ban, and a prophet then informed Ahab that he will suffer for his inaction.
Right, so now we can get that Kings, but yeah, so Ahab, he won the victory, and then we're gonna touch on that, and he pretty much showed mercy to the king, and the Lord told him not to, and you know what I'm saying, and then and he gonna get punished for that. So first, let's get that 1 Kings 19:1.
It's 1 Kings chapter 19, verse 1. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto
and this story right here is the famous story when you read. That's why it's good to know the context. Like when you read, was that Romans 11, I believe, when it says, "Lord, they killed all the prophets," and so on. This is that story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Have reserved 7,000 men.
Yep.
Because Elijah thought he was the last prophet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, I reserved 7,000 men. It's more of you out here, you know?
Come. Yep. You got it.
Verse 2. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow, about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life. He came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree, and he requested for himself that he might die, and said, It is enough now, O Lord, take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers.
All right, come on, we stop there. Of course, I don't want to go into every story. That's going to take too long. So, like I said, this is when that story happened. He was praying to the Lord, like the brother quoted, observe 7,000 men that have not bowed the knee to Baal, and so Lord willing that he continued his ministry pretty much, but that was this little, what's it called? His low moment pretty much, because he just wanted to fucking die. And I fuck this, like damn,
Yeah.
But hey, the Lord in short, pretty much exhorted him, and he continued. But now we can go to 1 Kings 20 and 1. We might skip around a little bit.
All right.
But yeah, you got it.
1 Kings chapter 20, verse 1. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered all his hosts together, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots. And he went up and besieged Samaria and warned against it. And he sent messengers to Ahab, king of Israel, into the city, and said unto him, Thus saith Ben-Hadad, Thy silver and thy gold is mine, thy wives also, and thy children, even the goodliest, are mine. And the king of Israel answered and said, My lord, O king, according to thy saying, I am thine, and all that I have. And the messengers came again and said, Thus speaketh Ben-Hadad, saying, although I have sent unto thee, saying, Thou shalt deliver me thy silver and thy gold and thy wives and thy children. Yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow and about this time, and they shall search thine house and the houses of thy servants. And it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thine eyes, they shall put in their hand and take it away. Then the king of Israel called all the elders of the land and said, Mark, I pray you, and see how this man seeketh mischief, for he sent unto me for my wives and for my children and for my silver and for my gold, and I denied him not. And all the elders and all the people said unto him, Hearken not unto him, nor consent. Wherefore he said unto the messengers of Benhadad, Tell my lord the king all that thou didst send for to thy servant at the first I will do, but this thing I may not do. And the messengers departed and brought him word again. And Benhadad sent unto him and said, The gods do so unto me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria shall suffice for handfuls for all the people that follow me. And the king of Israel answered,
What verse? Oh, you 11, right?
11.
All right. You go to 13.
All right, verse 11. And the king of Israel answered, jump to, okay. Verse 13. And behold, there came a prophet unto Ahab, king of Israel, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver it into thine hand this day, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. And Ahab said, By whom? And he said, Thus saith the Lord, even by the young men and of the princes of the provinces. Then he said, Who shall order the battle? And he answered, Thou. Then he numbered the young men of the princes of the provinces, and they were 232. And after them he numbered all the people, even all the children of Israel, being 7,000.
Go to verse 19.
Verse 19. So these young men of the princes of the provinces came out of the city, and the army which followed them, and they slew every one of his men. And the Syrians fled, and Israel pursued them, and Benhadad, the king of Syria, escaped on a horse with the horsemen. And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses and chariots and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said unto him, Go strengthen thyself and mark and see what thou doest, for at the return of the year the king of Syria will come up against thee. And servants of the king of Syria said unto him, Their gods are gods of the hills, therefore they were stronger than we, but let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they.
Right. See, and then so like just like that storm we read earlier, and this is a different situation, but it just shows you, they talk like that, like my God, your God, you know what I mean, versus, you know what I'm saying? That was a big thing in the ancient world.
Mm-hmm.
But we could skip down just to get to the point. Let me see. Let's go to 31, because pretty much they end up whooping their ass, and then they wanted to seek mercy, and this is where the king Ahab went off, because he's supposed to destroy all of them. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to verse 31.
Verse 31. And his servants said unto him, Behold, now we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are merciful kings. Let us, I pray thee, put sackcloth on our loins and ropes upon our heads, and go out to the king. And go out to the king of Israel. Peradventure, he will save thy life. So they girded up sackcloth on their loins and put ropes on their heads, and came to the king of Israel and said, Thy servant Benhadad saith, I pray thee, let me live. And he said, Is he yet alive? He is my brother. Now the men did diligently observe whether anything would come from him, and did hastily catch it. And they said, Thy brother Benhadad. Then he said, Go ye, bring him. Then Benhadad came forth to him, and he caused him to come up into the chariot. And Benhadad said unto him, The cities which my father took from thy father I will restore, and thou shalt make streets for thee in Damascus, as my father made in Samaria. Then said Ahab, I will send thee away with this covenant. So he made a covenant with him, and sent him away.
Right, the Lord commanded us not to make a covenant with these heathen. You know what I'm saying? He said, we're going to make a street in Damascus, like my father did in Samaria. So pretty much, you know, the king, he was gonna control that, you know, pretty much make money off that. You know what I'm saying? So he thought it was like a business deal, you know, disregarding the Lord's commandment. But you got it.
Verse 35, and a certain man of the sons of the prophets said unto his neighbor, in the word of the Lord, smite me, I pray thee. And the man refused to smite him. Then said he unto him, because thou hast not obeyed the voice of the Lord, behold, as soon as thou art departed from me, a lion shall slay thee. And as soon as he was departed from him, a lion found him and slew him. Then he found another man and said, smite me, I pray thee. And the man smote him, so that in smiting he wounded him. So the prophet departed and waited for the king by the way, and disguised himself with ashes upon his face. And as the king passed by, he cried unto the king, and he said, thy servant went out into the midst of the battle, and behold, a man turned aside and brought a man unto me, and said, keep this man, if by any means he be missing, then shall thy life be for his life, or else thou shalt pay a talent of silver. And as thy servant was busy,
The prophet was being like a righteous snake, you know what I mean? I'm trying to think of the word. He just pretty much disguised himself and was using a similitude, and then he pretty much did like kind of what Nathan did to Daniel. You know, he was like there was a person that has, remember that story? I forgot what he told it, David, and then he pretty much tricked him like, nah, you the man that stole the
He used a parable.
Yeah, the parable. That's what. Yeah, the parable, the similitude. You know what I'm saying? And he pretty much doing the same thing with this king. You know, but you got it.
verse 40. And as thy servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Israel said unto him, so shall thy judgment be, thyself has decided it. And he hasted and took the ashes away from his face. And the king of Israel discerned him that he was of the prophets. And he said unto him, that thus saith the Lord, because thou hast let go out of thy hand a man whom I appointed to utter destruction, therefore thy life shall go for his life, and thy people for his people. And the king of Israel went to his house heavy and displeased, and came to Samaria.
Right. So he did something similar to King Saul. Like he's supposed to kill all of the
Edomites.
Yeah. You see, and but eventually, Ahab he went sorrowful. So the Lord showed him a little mercy, and he said, "I'm not going to do it to you in your life." You know, he died first, and then he started putting judgment on his household. But we can go back to that article.
It says, okay. It says, upon Ahab's return to Samaria, Jezebel attempted to coerce the king into confiscating the vineyards of Naboth of Jezreel, which was a Canaanite center. Naboth asserted that as an Israelite, the land was not his own, but was a trust from Yahweh, and that he could not sell it. Taken to court on trumped up charges of blasphemy, Naboth was convicted and stoned to death. Ahab, following Jezebel's advice, then went to Naboth's vineyard and took possession of it. Upon hearing of Ahab's unjust act as king, Elijah proclaimed to him, in the place where dogs lick up the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick your own blood. The prophet also announced, the dogs shall eat Jezebel within the bounds of Jezreel. In 1 Kings.
Real quick. Let's get that real quick. Just the judgment. I believe it's. Hold up. I think it's. Let me see. It is 1 Kings. Hold up. Is it 19? Somebody can find that.
Yeah.
Find that from the Bible. Shall we threw her out the window?
1 Kings 21 and I can just start at 19 maybe.
Come on.
It's 1 Kings chapter 21, verse 19. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, in the place where dogs licked the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick the blood, thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and I will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah, for the provocation, wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger and made Israel to sin.
Now you gotta jump to Second Kings 9.
Yeah, let's skip around. Let's start at 1 and we'll skip down to like
Cause she pretty much was abusing her power to get that land. So she like set them up to get executed so Ahab could take the land.
Right.
Or that vineyard,
Right. Yeah. And he bare false witness.
Yeah.
Lied and they got him stoned.
Come.
And that's a spirit, I ain't gonna lie. I fucking I rewatched, this is a spirit too. On some random shit. I rewatched Emperor's New Groove, you know what I'm saying?
Smack.
Bro, smack. And you remember the whole story, the dude, he wanted, cause he was a king, he didn't give a fuck about nobody but himself. And remember the servant that came, he wanted to take his land on the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It remind me of that. I'm like, damn. Cause that's, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, he ended up showing mercy. But it's the same thing in this situation. Like you unrighteously took a land from somebody. You know what I mean? And the Lord judged you for that and for not destroying the king of Syria. And of course, the other wickedness this nigga was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it.
2 Kings 9.
1.
2 Kings 9, verse 1. And Elisha the prophet called one of the children of the prophets and said unto him, Gird up thy loins and take this box of oil in thy hand and go to Ramoth Gilead. And when thou comest thither, look out there Jehu the son of Jehoshaphat the son of Nimshi, and go in and make him arise up from among his brethren. Oh, trying bugging out again.
I'll read.
Oh, I'm back at it.
You got it?
Yeah. It's like a joint. All right. And go in and make him arise from among his brethren and carry him to an inner chamber. Then take the box of oil and pour it on his head and say, Thus saith the Lord, I have anointed thee king over Israel. Then open the door and flee and tarry not. So the young man, the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilead. And when he came, behold, the captains of the host were sitting, and he said, I have an errand to thee, O captain. And Jehu said unto which of all of us? And he said to thee, O captain. And he arose and went into the house, and he poured the oil on his head and said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, the power of Israel, I have anointed thee king over the people of the Lord, even over Israel.
Right. And now, so you know it's him king. So now we can just skip down to verse 29 just to get to the point. Because then also too, well, who said tell him anointed? Was it Elisha?
Elisha.
Let me see. Yeah, Elisha,
Yeah.
Verse 9. So Salaki, I forgot to mention. So Elijah, he already passed by this time. You know what I'm saying? So now it's Elisha. Or some pronounce it Elijah. You know what I'm saying? But you can go ahead to 29.
Verse 29, in the 11th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, began Ahaziah to reign over Judah. And when Jehu was come to Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face and tied her head and looked out at a window And as Jehu entered, and at the gate she said, had Zimri peace, who slew his master. And he lifted up his
Right,
face.
real quick, this bitch wasn't even humble. She was talking shit, like, because he slew his man, because I believe he killed the previous king. You know what I'm saying? And she, you know what I mean, she didn't even humble. She was talking shit out the window. This is one of my favorite stories. Even though he went off in his end of his life, this had to be a great honor to avenge all the prophets of the Lord. You know what I mean? Because that's what the Lord told him. You're going to avenge the prophets. You know, and this was only the beginning, but you got it.
Verse 32. And he lifted up his face to the window and he said, who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs. And he said, throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses, and he trod under the foot. And when he was come in, he did eat and drink, and said, go see now this cursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter. They still show, man, you know.
Yeah, come on. What verse you talking?
I'm at 35 now.
Okay, come on, you got it.
Yep. Verse 35, and they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull and the feet and the palms of her hands. Damn. Wherefore they came again and told him, and he said, this is the word of the Lord which he spake by his servant Elijah the Tishbite, saying, in the portion of Jezreel shall dogs eat the flesh of Jezebel, and the carcass of Jezebel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Jezreel, so that they shall not say, this is Jezebel.
Come on, see, so the word of the Lord came to pass. All right, so now we can continue in the article, because then he do more. You know what I'm saying? You got it.
It says in 1 Kings chapter 22, another prophet, Micaiah, prophesied to Ahab and to King Jehoshaphat.
Oh wait, hold on, let me see. We can skip that detail. So like I'm just trying to find what paragraph you in? You got a heading over it?
Now it's the right before the next heading just says Kings, the second book.
Alright, so I can give me a second. This damn article sucks, man. Keep reloading and shit. It's a lot, yeah, cause that's one of my favorite stories too. But we can skip that just for the time's sake. Hold up. Alright. Let me see. Well, what's the next heading says?
Kings, the second book.
Hold on, I'm almost there. Shit just got low. Alright, we can go down to skip down to where it says the significance of Elisha, and then go to this let me see, because some of this we already read. They just summarizing it, so we can go down to go all the way down where it says in the north, Jehu was succeeded by his son. I think it's like the 4 or 5 verse chapters.
In the north, Jehu was succeeded by his son Jehoahaz, reigned 815 to 801 BC, who in turn was followed by his son Joash or Jehoash.
Right. It's like real quick. So it's like hopefully I'm making sense. So let me know if Jake, you know what I mean, because it's a lot of. I ain't trying to go through every story because it's gonna take too damn long. So let me know if Jake confused or whatever, and you slow down, whatever the case is. But you got it.
Jake just, for the viewers, Jake just got to read, you know.
Yeah.
And they got a chart too here that shows the kings and the chronicle order.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Right, and he was the only mixed, you know, he did some good, some bad, you know.
Oh yeah. He said yeah.
Yeah. You got it.
It says during the latter king's reign, the prophet Elisha died. Though the Deuteronomic historian says a little,
But so like, you read the in the north, Jehu was succeeded by his son.
how do you restart?
Yeah.
It says in the north, Jehu was succeeded by his son Jehoahaz, reigned 815 to 801 BC, who in turn was followed by his son Joash or Jehoash. During the latter king's reign, the prophet Elisha died. Though the Deuteronomic historian says a little about Israel's next king, Jeroboam II.
Right, and Jeroboam II, he was not related to the first king of Israel, Jeroboam. It's just the second because they got the same name. You know what I'm saying? But you got it.
He was a major monarch, reestablishing the northern kingdom, ancient boundaries, and fostering a period of economic prosperity during the reign of Jeroboam II, 786 to 746 BCE, a time of both economic advances and social injustice. Amos, the great prophet of social justice, arose. During Jeroboam's last years, another great prophet, Hosea, whose message centered on covenant love, arose to call an apostate people back to their covenant responsibilities.
Right, and real quick, and next we're about to go into the fall and how they got scattered. What we at in time? Real quick.
You had 41 minutes.
Next one we're gonna kind of power. We should be able to make it an hour. But real quick, can somebody get Amos 1:1 and Hosea 1:1 just to show you? Cause they told you what kings that was ruling at that time that they was prophesying. You know what I'm
Who's
saying?
going first?
It don't matter.
This Hosea 1:1. It reads, the word of Yahweh came unto Hosea the son of Beeri in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, in the days of Jeroboam the son of Joash, king of Israel.
Right. Jeroboam, king of Israel. You know, and of course we're gonna touch on that later, more in detail in that book. But just to get the overview. But next we can get the Amos.
Amos chapter 1 verse 1. The words of Amos, who was among the herdmen of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Israel in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, 2 years before the earthquake.
Right. So that was in the time of Jeroboam II, you know what I'm saying? So just to show you, because, you know, I think that's a good link to, kings and prophets. You know, because they both was very significant at the times, you know. But we can go ahead and keep going to the fall of Israel.
It says
Yeah, is your shit restarting too?
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I can hate that down.
It says the fall of Israel. After the death of Jeroboam II, however, Israel faced a period of continuous disaster, and no prophetic figure was able to arrest the steady internal decay. From 746 to 721, when Samaria finally fell to the Assyrians, there were 6 kings, the last being Hoshea, a conspirator who had assassinated the previous king. The Assyrian king Sargon II deported the leading citizens of Samaria to Persia and imported colonists from other lands to fill their places.
Right, so this is very important history that Jay gotta know, right? So real quick, let's get 2 Kings 15. And I believe you can start, we're gonna skip around a little bit. Let me see. You can start at, 13.
2 Kings chapter 2 Kings chapter 15 verse 13. Shalom the son of Jabesh began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah the king of Judah, and he reigned a full month in Samaria. For Menahem the son of Gedai went up from Tirzah, and came to Samaria, and smote Shalom the son of Jabesh in Samaria, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Shalom and his conspiracy which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. Then Menahem the smote Tifsa, and all that were therein, and the coast thereof from Tirzah because they opened not to him. Therefore he smote it, and all the women therein that were with child he ripped up.
Right. Keep going to verse 19.
Verse 19. And Pul, the king of Assyria, came against the land, and Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Menahem exacted the money of Israel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Assyria. So the king of Assyria turned back and stayed not there in the land.
Right. So they chilled out for a second. But they gonna keep coming back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you get greedy.
Yeah. And then now we can go to verse 23.
Verse 23. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, the son of Menahem, began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 2 years. And he that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. But Pekah, the son of Remaliah, a captain of his, conspired against him, and smote him in Samaria, in the palace of the king's house, with Argob and Ariah, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites, and he killed them and reigned in his room. And the rest of the acts of Pekahiah, and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, the son of Remaliah, began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 20 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. In the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and took Ijon and Abel-Beth Makath, and Janoah, and Kadesh, and Hazor, and Gilead, and Galilee, all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria.
Right, so this is the first time, but they're gonna do it the second time. You know what I'm saying? So some Jake was brought to Assyria. You know what I'm saying? And then let me see. You can read one more verse, and then we can go to chapter 17, just to show when Jake fully got put out the land.
And Hosea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him, and slew him, and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. Man, these northern tribe niggas are wicked.
Man, you know, I believe Hosea, he's the last king of Israel. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's Hosea.
Yes, well,
Yeah.
whatever how you pronounce that nigga name. You got it.
You want to start?
Picture too, Jay.
Oh yeah. I pop it up my tablet.
I was on the screen.
I got the same picture too.
No, it's a route. That's
Oh, right. Okay.
You can see.
What's that? That's the first one, right? The purple?
The purple is deportation by.
Pilsler the third. Deportation by Salmanazar the fifth and Sargon the second. Deportation by Sargon the second. So the purple is Tiglath. The red is Salmanazar the fifth and Sargon the second. And the yellow is Sargon the second.
Yeah. And then you got the one with they brought it back to the Samaria, them heathens.
Should be one. Like this one. Oh, not this one. I have one. I think I just post one. Then.
Yeah, I think you did. I think on Telegram, maybe. I'm saying, Jay got fucked up, man. And then, of course, you know, Ezra's. Then Jake eventually left that land and went to America, you know.
that. It's a lot.
That's all good. So we can
Let me see. Yeah, this.
go off. Let's get
Another good one.
Yeah. Which we gonna touch on in a second in chapter 17. Cause you know what I'm saying, Jay got put out the land and he even got put in. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
This is where you tap into John 4 to get the understanding.
Yeah.
John the 4th chapter.
Come on.
The lady at the well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ready? 17:1.
Second Kings 17 at the top. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers so
He's like a pretty much a tributary state, you know what I'm saying, to the Assyrians. What you got?
sent messengers so king of Egypt and brought no present to the king of Assyria, and he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged in 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. For so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord, their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other gods.
Right, so we put him out and put heathen in, you know, so that's the beginning of, you know, Jake being exiled from Israel, you know, because obviously we're not in our land right now, you know what I'm saying? Then they got it's a spirit, see lost tribes. I don't know if you want to read that.
Yeah, I can read it. Real quick, I'm gonna just read the whole overview. It says the deportation of the northern tribes refers to mass exiles of the Israelite people from the kingdom of Israel, the north, by Assyrian Empire beginning in stages. In the mid-18th century BCE, around 732 BCE under Tiglath-Pileser III. It says, and culminating in 721 BCE with Sargon's second conquest of Samaria, scattering them across the empire, leading to the biblical concept of the lost 10 tribes, as they were replaced by foreigner settlers, creating the Samaritans. Assyrian some bullet points, key events. It says Assyrian conquest, the weak northern kingdom of Israel faced constant internal strife and Assyrian pressure. Stage 1, Tiglath-Pileser the third, early deportations targeted the northmost areas, Galilee, Gilead, Naphtali, removing population to Assyria. Stage 2, Sargon II, the final conquest of Samaria, 721 BCE, led to the deportation of a large segment of the remaining population to Mesopotamia and Media.
Right. I believe you got like prophets like what was his name? Tobit, Tobias. What was they? They was
Mhm.
was it? Where
Yeah.
they at?
I think Tobit was they were in the Assyrian captivity.
Come on.
It's funny how they use the word deportation on the northern tribes.
Oh yeah, go on. Yeah. Come on. Let me see. Oh yeah, you about to get it.
Yep, this is Tobit 1. At the top it says the book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobiel, the son of Aniel, the son of Aduel, the son of Gebiel, the seed of Asiel of the tribe of Naphtali, who in the time of Enemeser, king of Assyria, was led captive out of Thisbe, which I believe that's speaking of Salmaneser, if I'm not mistaken, which is at the right hand of the city, which is called properly Naphtali, and Galilee above Asher. You know,
Right. And see, this shows you this. That's why, like the apostle said, you got to know the history, know the mystery, because you read these different stories, like we just read Tobit. He was in exile. He was in a land that wasn't his. You know, all the different prophets went through that. You know what I'm saying? And then we're in the same situation. We're in the land that's not ours, and we're like Gentiles. We living like heathen. You know what I mean? Pretty much.
Show tribute.
Right, yeah, tribute, and you know what I'm saying? It's the same situation. Hey, James 1:1, so the Israelites scattered abroad, you know?
And it's going to show you he was a remnant, you know what I'm saying? That's beautiful. Like you said earlier, the Lord knows how to preserve his name, his word, you know what I'm saying, and his men. But I'm gonna keep reading just a little more. Tobit, real quick if I may. It says Tobit have walked all the days of my life in the ways of truth and justice, and did many alms deeds to my brethren and my nation, who came with me to Nineveh, into the land of the Assyrians. And when I was in mine own country, in the land of Israel, being but young, all the tribe of Naphtali my father fell from the house of Jerusalem, which was chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. And all the tribes should sacrifice there, where the temple of the habitation of the Most High was consecrated and built for all ages. Now all the tribes which together revolted, and the house of my father Naphtali sacrificed unto the heifer Baal. That's heavy, you know what I'm saying? You know, just giving you that history of what was going on, you know, that, like I said, at that time, you know, he was a young boy, you know, so he witnessed, you know, all the stages, you know, or, you know, majority of the stages prior to the deportation of the northern tribes, you know, where he wound up in Nineveh, you know.
Come. Was it there?
Yeah, come.
Like, where we at? Like an hour?
3 minutes will be.
Okay, so what we gonna do? I was gonna touch on the Judah getting spread, but that's gonna take too long. So, and it's about to be camped. So we probably gonna touch on that. The next class, the fall of Judah, and probably mix in there. Let me see how I'm gonna do it. Maybe mix in there the book of Isaiah and Jeremiah, maybe something like that. It might not go in order, because I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm gonna see how I'm gonna do it, Lord willing, through the Spirit. But yeah, we're gonna touch on that next week. You know what I'm saying? Because for the sake of the time. But Lord willing, anybody got anything else? We'll close out. Come. So Lord willing, hopefully that was edifying. We give all praises and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Kakodash.
Apostle G. Let's to the faithful men to continue doing the work of the Lord. So that we're gonna say shalom.
Shalom.